Hi and welcome, it's Steve Johnson here, Chief Investment Officer at Forager Funds, and we're here to talk about our December 2020 quarterly report, and I'm joined by Gareth Brown, Portfolio Manager on the International Fund, and we'll focus mostly on that here, but just talk about what was an extraordinary year. You and I have worked together for 17 years, Gareth. It has to be up there with the most bizarre and extreme that we've seen.
Yeah, the only one that comes close is 2008 and 09. I remember back then when Lehman collapsed, the next night we were sitting in the Lord Nelson pub in Bondi Junction drinking a beer in complete silence, just absolutely shell-shocked, processing what was happening to the world. You know, the market ultimately didn't bottom for another 6 months, 5 or 6 months back then. Where this crisis has been different is the speed at which it fell and ultimately recovered. You know, mid-February, we're going along, everything's fine. By mid-March, the world was ending. Stock market had sold off more than 30% around the world.
Yeah, it ultimately ended up being an exceptional year of good performance for both our funds, but particularly the International Fund. I might be going a bit far here, but I think it's been quite a seminal year, both for you as an investor and getting promoted to portfolio manager, and also just for us as a business navigating the year in the way that we have. What do you think are the key contributors to 2020 in terms of our success through it?
Well, we'd done some really good work prior, I think. You know, Harvey had done that with Autodesk, for example, put it through the framework. We didn't buy it. We were able to buy it during the crisis. We got to do something similar with Auto Trader. There was quite a few of our stocks that held up surprisingly well into the sell-off. So we're actually able to do a bit of horse trading. So we sold things that were holding up, put them into cheaper stocks. 2 months later, you're swapping back and making really good money out of it.
Yeah, and also I think some of it, and a really important point there, is some of our best performers this year were not stocks that we picked up at the March lows, but stocks that we actually owned prior that we've made multiples of our money on from that January and end of December price, rather than it just being the market turmoil that provided the opportunities.
Yeah, I think new people was a big part of the process as well. Harvey, of course, been instrumental. It's brought a lot of energy and a lot of hustle to the team. It can be quite tiring at times, actually. Like, please, we don't want to sell this stock. I want to leave it in the bottom drawer for years yet. But it is an important bit of hustle to the process, and especially on the new idea front, the speed and quality of his work on that front has been phenomenal. Chloe's just come along in leaps and bounds this year and found some really, really good stocks, and it's been great to see.
Yeah, and I think something I've talked about relentlessly over the past few months, but volatility has been something that's helped us a lot.
Yeah, like the lesson here, it's so easy to forget, but it's so important to remember. Volatility is the enemy of people that don't know what they're doing, and it is absolutely the friend when you do know what you're doing. The ability to buy stocks when they're too cheap and to sell them at fair price or better, volatility brings that to you. And the more often it happens, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. And then look, I had a final point in here myself, just a good bit of luck. You can't buy it when things are going badly in this industry, and you can't imagine a stock ever doubling, and then in the course of 1 year we end up with 4 or 5 in our portfolio that have not just doubled but gone up multiples of their prices. And you know, that's not just luck, it's good analysis and finding the right stocks, but I think the speed with which it has happened has been fortuitous as well, in terms of the contribution there.
Look, I was very confident back in March when that we were close to the bottom in time. I had no idea where we were going to end up in price, but just the level of capitulation and the level of volatility, it was weeks away, it wasn't months away. And I think we did very well around that. We got our portfolio down to very little cash. We sat down there having debates about whether the right cash weighting was 1% or 0.5%. So we've done what we could around that, but I'm not surprised that we've had a big rally out the other side. I am surprised quite how big that rally's been. You really think we'd get it by now. Central bank is sort of, it's very, very important to them. They have unlimited resources and resolve, and for some reason we keep underestimating the ability for them to inflate prices when they want to do that.
Yeah, I think at the moment there are no constraints either. They're not feeling the pressure of inflation, and this is going to cause problems down the track, so they can and feel free to throw as much at it as they can. But there's been a lot of change in the portfolio over the course of 2021. Lots of stuff that's up a lot, and we've sold, and lots of new ideas in the portfolio. What are you most excited about as we look into the next year and beyond?
So on my part of the portfolio, a couple of small caps that been in the portfolio for quite a while that I'm still very excited about: Blanco and Motorpoint. Also some, let's say, more traditional value stocks that I think is still too cheap in Linamar, Flughafen and Vin. We've got Boohoo, which Chloe's brought to the portfolio, which I think is really an interesting situation. And then particularly some of the work Harvey's been doing around IPOs, listings, SPACs, for example. There's a few new names in there. One of them is our largest position. I won't mention it here, but it'll probably be discussed in the quarterly.
Yep. Yeah, so you'll notice a lot of new names if you pick up the December quarterly report, compare it to December last year, particularly I think in the weightings of those top 5 holdings. A lot of the stocks that have done well for us are still in the portfolio, just in smaller weightings, but it's a fairly different one that you will see there today, and one that we're expecting to give us some good returns over the medium to long term as well.
With volatility.
With potential volatility.
No, actually.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Any questions you've got, send them through to us on email or give us a call. Leave some comments and rate the video on YouTube. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye.